I'm Michael Rooney. Today I will be presenting the key features and components of the SCOR framework. The first development of standardized business architecture for a supply chain was initiated by the Supply Chain Council in the mid-1990s. What the SEC had created was a standard architecture which allowed supply chains to measure up their performance and establish a common ground with the rest of the supply chains. The framework accomplished this by defining common vocabulary such as definitions of terms, processes, management, and support processes. In 2014, a merger between two highly respected supply chain and business management companies created Apex SEC. Even with the merger between Apex and SEC, they maintained the Supply Chain Operations Reference SCOR framework and is still one of the most successful reference resources used by many supply chain management teams, including business leaders, academia, and global enterprises. The SCOR framework consists of many important parts, including the three levels. Level 0, the value chain. Level 1, the supply chain, which I will break down. Level 2, the processes and variations. And Level 3, the sub-processes, which are specific to the individual processes. According to Harmon, in the business change process, SCOR defines a supply chain architecture and all the high-level processes and leaves the technical implementations of the Level 3 processes to the individual members. The SCOR framework supports four components: performance, processes, practices, and people. These four components are part of the bigger picture, and support for all four components overall will allow for successful supply chain management. This is what SCOR framework aims to accomplish. According to the official Apex organization website, some of the benefits of SCOR framework are increase the speed of the system and implementations, support organizational learning goals, and improve inventory turns. Some of the key features of the SCOR framework include the increased amount of members of the SEC organization allowed for the establishment of benchmarking services. Metrics measure performance relative to customers as well as internal performance of the supply chain. These measurements together help determine the effectiveness of a company's supply chain by measuring their performance compared to the average and best organizations in their industry. Another feature of the SCOR framework which makes it successful is a scorecard, which is produced and shows all the benchmarks and comparisons, identifying how a company's supply chain works by displaying actual performance data. The information in return can be used to compare to the rest of the industry and determine strengths and weaknesses, allowing them to identify what would be economically worth fixing and improve planning. Some of the major components of the SCOR framework are Level 1, and these are the 6 processes, which are plan. The plan includes the improvement plans and measurements of the supply chain efficiency, aligning them with the financial goals of the company. Source, which involves managing the inventory and suppliers, including contracts, networks, and performance of them. Make, which is the products including the manufacturing and production of them and all the steps involved. Delivery, managing orders of inventories ordered, sent, and delivered, as well as shipments received. Return, in case of any issues, there are always returns, and this is a part of the supply chain process after shipment is received by a customer, is managing the returns, such as return regulations, inventories, and transportation. And the newest one, Enable, provides guidance on how to support the original 5 process steps with best practices to support those steps. A real-world example of how successful the features and components of the SCOR framework are is the merger between HP and Compaq, which by using the SCOR framework, we're able to quickly analyze the processes and put together the successful ones and create a successful plan that worked in a lot less time than it would have taken if not for the SCOR framework. To keep up with modern times, Apex SEC has introduced 2 new apps: SCOR app, which applies the SCOR framework mobilely, as well as the Apex Learn It app, which has common definitions and terms. Both are available on both mobile operating systems, Android and iOS. In conclusion, the components of the SCOR framework provide a successful supply chain framework for making improvements, faster results for mergers, and faster results for supply chain crises needing improvements quickly. This concludes my presentation on the key features and components of the SCOR framework. Thank you.